Hello, everyone. Do you know, I just started then. I just started chatting and realised that I hadn't actually pressed the go live button. Anyway, I'm slightly better this week than last, so not quite as tired. My mum is home from hospital and doing very well, so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, perhaps I'm not quite as tired as last week, but I've got a fun little thing to try this week. I've just realised I'm not sure my pencil's sharp enough, but we'll manage somehow. I'm just going to finish my coffee first. So how is everyone today? If you are here, please let me know what's going on. Oh, there's a stupid message here. Well, I don't want 50% off this Black Friday. Honestly, aren't you fed up with Black Friday things? I am, really am. Especially as I already subscribe to this particular piece of software to do these lives. So 50% off isn't helpful. I could have done with it when I had to renew last summer, whenever it was. Actually, it might be January or February. I can't remember. Anyway, never mind. There's a bit of a glow behind my shoulder. Gosh, quite a lot of... Yeah, it's gone quite nice out, quite bright. We haven't had any snow, but I understand there is quite a lot of snow in England. So let me know where you're from and what you're doing in the chat. I'd love to know who's there watching. But let me get on with today's card. I'll just finish my coffee. Although I made it soon enough so I'd get it finished before we started today, but it was a bit too hot. It's okay now. There, done that. Because I had some water here this morning. My desk was covered in bits because I was doing all sorts of things. And I managed to knock the water over. So, yeah, we don't want any more problems with drinks. Anyway, let you see my craft desk. There we go. And it's a bit... Oh, it's because that wasn't properly in. That's better. Okay, so here's my desk, and this is the set we're going to be using today. This is the Hang and Ornament stamp set. It's only a little tiny stamp set, but it comes as a bundle. It has some dies. So it has two particular ornaments, these two patterned ornaments. We're using this one today, but it's got all these... I'll show you. Here's the dies. I'll show you the dies first. So this cuts out the ornaments. We've got the holly leaves, the little candy cane, an arrow. I'm not sure what that is. I honestly don't know. Could be anything, but I'm not sure what that bit is. But we've got some berries, different sizes, different leaves there, and two different dies that'll go around the sentiment. So off to do it. I haven't done my usual trick. I'll show you this trick because I quite like it. When I first get a set of dies that goes in a bundle, I tend to keep them in the case with the stamp set, because where they match the stamp set so closely, that's important. Where they don't match the stamp set so closely, like the spotlight on nature dies or whatever, I make a note on the front of the stamp set that they match, but I'll usually keep them separate because if you know the spotlight on nature dies, it's a lovely set of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful circles with all different patterns around them. Absolutely beautiful. So it doesn't actually match the stamp set it came with as a bundle, but there we go. So what I do is when I do get one that is a bundle that I want to put in here, I take it out of its folder that it comes in, and I then do this. I draw around all of the dies so I know where they sit. Because I've been caught out before by using dies and thinking, oh, I'll be able to put them back, and then not actually being able to put them back and fit them all together. Now, this set obviously is not a huge set, so it's not such a problem. But just doing that very simply means that when I use the die, because I haven't actually used the dies yet, like I'm going to be using this one today, then I know where to put it back. And it's still got its tape, so it'll sit there. So just a little tip, which is really useful. Carrying on with the stamp set, that is what I was describing for you. This is the leaf that does cut out with one of the dies, like a pine leaf, so you could make a little group of those. The big berry, a word pull, a hook for the top of the ornament, and a holly leaf, and two sentiments, all is merry and just for you. So we're going to use one of the sentiments today and this particular ornament. I'm not using the little hook. Well, I'm still deciding. We'll see as we go on with the card. So it is a card I'm making today. So I've got all my bits here. I've got my envelope because I must remember to decorate that. I've got a spare piece of green card. I'll come to that in a minute. That's not part of the card, but It's because what I'm making today, I'm showing you two different things to do with it. That's why. So usual card base, this is the 21 by 14.8 scored at 10.5, or if you're working in US letter card, it's 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4.25. And then you want two pieces, which I've done as my usual second layer sizes, because I wanted a bit more of a border around them. And these are both 9.5 by 13.8 in centimeters to fit the centimeter card, or for the US card, 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. So two pieces of those, because I'm using a dark coloured card, it's garden green. I want one for inside as well, and one for the front that we're going to decorate. You also need a small square of card that's big enough to fit the ornament stamp. So 7 to 7.5 centimeters square, or roughly 3 inches square, and a little sentiment strip, a little strip that we can stamp the sentiment on as well. So those are the bits you need. You also need a piece of just ordinary, this is just ordinary thin paper, ordinary paper, whatever you call it, ordinary paper. And that is the same size as these two pieces of basic white. So it's 9.5 centimeters by 13.8. And this is where we're going to make our stencil, because this today is a stencil card. So let's get on with that, because it's the sort of key to the rest of the card. And then I'm going to show you two different ways to make it. So the first thing to do, let me just move these bits out of the way for now. Put them over there, because then you can see what I'm doing with this. So the first thing I've done is I've just folded the sheet of paper in half lengthways. And then I'm going to use a pencil or a pen, whichever you want. Pencil, because then I can rub it out if it's awful. And you're just going to draw the sort of shape of a Christmas tree. But the important thing with this is that you do not want it to hit the edges of the paper. And then at the bottom, we're just going to do a little trunk. Again, remember, it'll be double this size when we cut it. So I've just done a little outline of a tree here. It's not brilliant, it doesn't need to be. And a little trunk at the bottom. And then we're going to cut this out. Important that we just cut out where we've been drawing the shape. So I'm just going to cut round it, and I don't have to be exact. It won't matter. The key with it, I'm going to make these little bits of the pointy bits just that little bit bigger, I think. So I can do that while I'm cutting, which is fine. That one's not too bad. Make this one bigger because it's near the bottom. And then the final one, making sure I don't go off the edge of the paper. So important, that bit. Coming around here, and then finally just cutting out the trunk. Trying to make it fairly straight. So that is what we are then left with. And because we've cut it out as a folded piece of paper, we have got a stencil of a tree, an outline of a tree. You also keep the middle bit, because we can use that too, because there are two ways to use the stencil. I'm going to use the stencil today because I'm going to use my blending brush, and I'm going to blend a tree onto my card. But if you prefer not to mess around like that and you just want a green tree, then use the cutout bit against this card, against your spare piece of card. You can then draw around it just with the pencil and then cut that out. And that will give you obviously a green tree you could use for this card. So if you don't want to do the blending, do it this way. Choose a green. It doesn't have to be the same green as the card. It just happened to be the piece I had left over, so it was sensible to use it. But that is the second way to use the stencil. So we're going to use this stencil. Let me just, here's my piece of paper. So it is the same size as the stencil. And I'm going to use some of my temporary adhesive. Wonderful stuff. I get it from Amazon. Just really useful. And if I just put a few little blobs of that in each corner, it rubs off. You don't have to worry about it sticking down. But I can now stick my stencil across my piece of card, lining it up so I know it's nice and straight. And there is my, that's white on white. It's really, I should have used a coloured paper, I think. But you can see I just stuck it using that removable adhesive, stuck it down to my card piece, which is a bit tatty there, but I can trim that later. And now I'm going to colour it using my blending brush. And I wanted to show you a little way of, I hope this works. We'll have to see if it works today, but hello, Jenny, lovely to see you. Warm wishes from South Africa. I hope it is warm down there. My youngest daughter has just gone off to New Zealand. She's treated herself to a holiday. She's going to be there for, I think, about 6 weeks. So she's in some nice warm weather, which is good. It's freezing here. It's gone very cold today, but at least it's bright, which is much nicer than it has been. Right, so I've just loaded up my blending brush by rubbing it over the surface of the ink. Just to pick some up. Now, normally when we're blending, because we want a nice smooth colour, we dab off. But for this particular tree, I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm just going to dab the colour on like this, because I don't want it to look solid particularly. Okay, so I'm going to need to pick some more up, dab it on. I want it to look as if it's got little branches, and so this is just a different way to use your blending brush. Still making, I want it the right shape, so I'm still making sure I'm going right to the end, but it's very different than the usual way we blend, but it's a nice way to use these brushes. And if you're just dabbing fairly lightly like this, it's not going to damage the blending brush at all. And I'm not worrying either if I've got shading across it, because you know that's what trees actually look like. So coming around the bottom here, it's going to be a bit careful with the trunk because I don't want a green trunk, so I'm just going to come up to the trunk there with my little dabby bits. So really should have done a Blue Peter and prepared one of these earlier rather than get you to watch all of this, but it won't matter because it's nearly done now. So you can see how it's just giving the sort of the shape of almost branches. Yeah, can you see that there? So very different than a normal blend, but I'm just getting a sort of blotchy sort of picture of the tree there. So there we go. Washing your blending brushes out, by the way, I wash them in hot soapy water and dab them to dry them, sort of squeeze them as much as I can. When you're washing them, do make sure you get right down to the bottom, because this dye does go right down deep. So you do need to really give it a good wash. But I keep my brushes for different colours. So I have a sort of greeny blue one, which is this brush. I have a yellow and orange one, and I have a red one. I also have a blue one, but that's because I've got lots of them. But it is useful to have to keep your brushes like that. Now for the trunk, I am actually going to, well, I was going to, but I haven't got it. Never mind, I shall just grab a blend, I think. Not sure where I'll put that. This is my very messy box of blends. But we should have some nice brown in here. What's that? Is that the bronze? Oh, it's dark pecan pie. I don't know where its light fellow has gone. But you know what? Dark pecan pie is going to be fine just to do the trunk. So for the trunk, I'm just going to use this and just sort of colour in the trunk. It's not going to matter too much. Just sort of easing it up into the there a little bit. So using the wide end, which is signified by the broad end, the narrow end has the narrow bit on it, and then I'm just going to do a few sort of lines to make it look more like a trunk. There we go, and that is my tree. So now I can take off my paper outline there. You can keep it, you can use it again, and you can see, and by the way, I said I'd use this removable adhesive. You can use a rubber. I find my finger does just as well, and you just sort of rub off that adhesive and it all comes off, which is just lovely. But you can see now I have got a nice Christmas tree on my card. Oh, this takes a little while as well, but hey, there we go. So there. So just a different way to use a blending tool and a nice little way to make your own stencils. And obviously you can make a stencil in whatever shape you wanted. It doesn't have to be a Christmas tree. I decided to use it as a Christmas tree. So that's the front of my card actually done. So we now just need to prepare all the rest of it. So first thing I'm going to do, I've got here this stamp that's sort of got leaves and dots and baubles and things around it. And I thought, oh, what colour shall I stamp it in? And then I decided I'm not going to stamp it in a colour at all. I'm going to emboss it. So I'm going to get my embossing buddy first, get it all over this card. There we go. Then I can stamp it in my Versamark ink pad. I haven't actually used this stamp set yet, so it's nice to actually get it out of the box. It's been sitting around. I've got so many ideas. I've got some ideas to actually make Christmas ornaments as well, but if you're interested, let me know, because we can do that another time. So then I'm going to stick this down here, put the Versamark on there, and then get my gold embossing powder. Let me just move these. The blends are all in the way. There we go. Get my gold embossing powder. There we go. So now you can see the actual detail from the stamp. It's rather nice. I did wonder about using these leaves, these sort of, because there is the stamp to do those leaves, but I've actually decided to use holly leaves for my other decoration. But I'll show you that in a minute. Let me just put that away. Get my heat tool, which is in its usual safe place on the floor. Try and keep it on the desk, but it falls off, so it's easier to use it on the floor. Right, let's watch the magic happen. I'm just going to stop there because that's actually quite a nice. Turn that off for a minute so I can hear myself speak. Can you see that we've got now the gold embossing powder not melted on the bottom and melted on the top, so you can see the actual effect. I do love embossing. So there, that's the whole thing done. And I've chosen the All is Merry sentiment, but you can stamp it across the middle of the bauble, but that's just one layer. You know, I don't do things like that. So I'm going to actually stamp this in Cherry Cobbler. Just on my little strip here. All is Merry. There we go. Wash that off. So that will have stained this stamp. The cherry cobblers and the reds all stain the stamps. It doesn't do them any harm at all. They are perfectly usable, but don't worry if your stamps get a bit stained. Look at my season's greeting one. Which I don't know why I've shut that up. I need that again. Right, okay, so we're going to die cut those in a second. But while I've got the ink pads out, I'm going to finish off my decoration. So the first thing I'm going to stamp is my season's greetings, and I'm using my cherry cobbler again. So I've used season's greetings here. That is from the what's it called? Greetings of the Season set. That's where I've used that from. Already very coloured because I've used it with several inks. Poppy Parade, I think, is the worst one. And Real Red, I've used it with Real Red, and that always stains everything. Don't put that away yet. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do, I've got here the holly leaf and the berry. So I am going to stamp, just as decoration inside, a little holly leaf. You could stamp them. I did wonder about stamping them in the corner of the front of the card as well, but decided not to. You could if you wanted. So I'm just going to stamp a couple of holly leaves here. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do the same thing on the envelope. So I do like my envelopes and my cards to coordinate. So just two little holly leaves like that. And let's take that one off and put my little holly berry back. Close my green ink pad because we don't want to get mixed up with that. Bring back my cherry cobbler. And then I'm just going to do a little group of berries to go with my holly leaves. So that's for the envelope, and the same on the inside of my card. Just 3 little berries, just to do the inside of the card. So there's my inside done. We now need to just do some die cutting and finish the front, and I'll show you the little bit of wow I'm adding to it. I'll just clean that stamp as well. Get those out of the way, find my dies. I managed to cut my thumb this morning and that's not helping at all. So I'm just going to use these dies to cut out these things. Find some room on my desk again. I actually have quite a big desk, but it's slightly scary just how little room I seem to have when I'm actually doing things. Because I'm trying to keep everything in reach, I think. So I can cut out both of these at the same run through. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the ornament shape around my ornament. And the hole, I'll show you this actually, the hole that helps you push it out to when it's cut basically goes over the middle of the little sort of holder at the top of the ornament. So pop that in. I'm just going to stick that down with a little bit of low-tack tape, and then the same with the cutting out the All Is Merry, just lining it up with the die, making sure same space both sides. And again, I'm going to just use a bit of tape just to hold that down. And if I had lost, oh, there it is. Thought I'd lost my other piece there. Right, and then I can run it through my machine. I'm just going to bring that back because my All Is Merry has moved. I think my little piece of tape is not as sticky as it should be, so we'll get rid of that one. It's worth keeping an eye on things as you do have them through. There we go. There's my ornament. As you do run them through the machine, because they can move, so we'll use this slightly stickier bit and try and hold this in place properly this time. You'll notice I'm putting it through on an angle. Whenever you've got a very straight die, like this one is sort of sort of straight edges everywhere, it's always best to put them in our machines not straight, so they're sort of slantwise. Where you can, sometimes you can't. Where you can, it's much better for the die. It doesn't damage the die so much, and it makes your machine not clunk and crack just quite so much. And has that slipped again? I think it did. May have to redo that. Yes, I'm going to have to redo it. It slipped again. I need some more tape. That's obviously, oh, look at it. It's an old piece. What I might do is use the back. No, I can't. I need another bit. Okay, so sorry folks, just need to redo this bit. Let me find another bit there. Will do. Move that to the side a minute. I was going to say I'll use the back of it and just restamp the All Is Merry, but this die actually produces an edge. You see it's got an edge to it, so it's got a little beveled edge. So I don't want to do that because I'll miss that beveled edge, which is no good. So we'll just try that again. That was me trying to be quick and do it in 2 lots. I should have done them separately and properly in the first place. And I need a bit more of my low-tack tape. And of course, I can't find the end. It must be here somewhere. Oh, is that it? Yes. We'll get a fresh bit of low-tack tape and then hopefully it'll stay on a bit better. Oh dear, that was me trying to rush. So again, I'm going to line it up carefully. It sort of just fits around it. Put that nice new bit on, which will hold it still. And back through my machine it goes. I've lost my top plate again. What have I done with it? Oh, for heaven's sake. I'll put it back over there. Goodness knows why. So, and I'm just, as well, I've shown you this before, but I'm just offsetting those plates a little bit, because it does go through the machine a lot better if you don't have them exactly lined up. It doesn't seem to matter with the main cut and emboss machine, but it does make it is quite important with this mini machine, I've found. So let's just properly put these away, out of the way. And that looks a lot better. There, now we've got a bit. Tape's definitely stuck down. Right. So I'm just going to pop my dies away before I forget. It's very easy to lose little dies, so I do tend to be quite rigorous about putting my dies away before I actually move on with my projects, so that I can... Oh no, I haven't lost them anywhere. Ooh, I've now just put that on top of my stencil. That's not good. Right. So let us make the card. So I've already scored this card, so I just need to fold it and burnish it. So making sure my folds line up. Very few comments today. Is anybody there? Do say hello. I know Jenny has already said hello, but I can't see any other comments. Normally people are commenting. I don't know. Do you like my tree that's done in that different way with blending brushes or not? I'd like to know. Please tell me. Right, so I'm just going to stick my tree on the front of my card, just flat, because I'm going to raise my ornament up on dimensionals. I've left, as I said, I cut these so that I've got a bigger border than usual. You could put another layer on here and have an extra border. I did think about gold card, but to be honest, I'm running out of gold foil, my gold card, and I need to get some more. Or you could use a contrasting colour. You could actually use a piece of Cherry Cobbler, which looks really nice against garden green, actually. Probably should have done that. Would have looked nice. Never mind. Too late now, because I've just stuck it on. Unless it's not stuck on enough and I can take it. No. Stop fiddling, Carol. Leave it like that. Okay, so I'm going to stick my ornament in the middle of my tree, and I'm going to stick my All Is Merry across the top of my ornament, which has got a little bit of that low tack tape, which is definitely not low tack. It doesn't want to come off. There we go. Now it's stuck to me. Oh, that bit definitely didn't want to not stick. That's on my nail. Well, never mind. I'll pull it off later. So just need my large dimensionals and my mini dimensionals. So my large dimensionals are going to go behind the ornament. And my mini dimensionals are going to go behind my All Is Merry. So I'm just going to use, as I said, I damaged my thumb today. I was out doing some litter picking locally, because we try and keep our area nice and tidy. And there was a broken bottle, so I was picking up pieces of the broken bottle. And I have got a litter picker thing, but it wasn't picking up all the pieces. So, of course, I used just my bare hands to do it and managed to cut myself, which is just stupid. But the sort of thing I do. Right, so let us stick this down to the tree. So I'm going to stick it across, and you see why I've made it quite a broad tree now, because I do want it to sort of really show off this ornament. And then with my mini dimensionals, it's actually quite difficult when you've got a plaster around. You can't feel your fingers so well. Not as good. So my All Is Merry is going across the middle of my ornament, which is where it's supposed to go. That's why the stamps have been arranged that way. But that's not all. We've got a bit more decoration to do on this card. And I've got this gorgeous, and you see the detail in this. Can I bring it closer? The Cherry Cobbler and Gold ribbon. And it's a lovely ribbon. It's just beautiful. So I'm making bows. Let me talk about making bows as well. So I like to make a bow this way, which is to wrap the wrap a little length of the ribbon around 2 fingers to give me 2 little bunny ears, and then I can cross those over. I can feel through my, oh dear, through my thumb, which I can't feel as normal. Very strange. Cross them over and just pull through. And oh, you say those are far too big. That doesn't matter. Keep your finger across the knot and just pull through the ends until you've got your bow the size you want it to be. You can just twist the ribbon to make sure it's lying nice and flat. There. And I think that's probably about right. So I'll get my ribbon scissors. And who was with me last week when we were talking about the interesting mess that somebody had done on a video showing how to do bows, and managed to not use ribbon scissors and made a little bit of a hash of cutting up the ribbon. Very sad. I just want that one a little bit smaller. That's better. Tighten again. I'm just going to angle the ends. I think we'll angle them this way. So they're roughly the same size. We'll always trim them again if we need. There we go. And then I can add my ribbon using a glue dot. Just put that ribbon away. Find my glue dots. Why is that one? That one looks drunk, this particular side. I don't know why. Just twist it to make it stand up. That's it. Then I can press the knot of the ribbon onto the... Oh, there's glue dots there. I didn't see those glue dots. Never mind. That's okay. We only want one. And then I'm sticking that on the top of my ornament. Like that. And then to finish the tree, and this is why I've already done the inside, because this next stage, don't just make sure... I'm going to just make that a little bit smaller, actually. I can still adjust it on here. You see it's stuck down at the back, but I can still adjust the actual knot a little bit, which is what I wanted there. Good. I'm going to finish a little bit more decoration on the tree, and I'm going to use the lovely metallic enamel effects because I love them. So what do you think of this card, folks? Are you going to have a go at stencils? Are you going to have a go at, I don't know, doing little things? So I'm just going to put some little lines of this dot, and I just need a little... I'll do it on the desk because I can always wipe it up later. Just want to check it's coming out before I start. Really important. So I'm going to do little lines of dots, just like a little line of lights around my tree. And that's why I've put this on first, because I want to make sure that I've got these in, getting these in the right place. Because once these are on, you've got to let it dry. The bow is sitting in front of the dots, so it's not going to touch the dots when I let go of it. Don't worry. And then I can just have some more here. Coming out over here. And then a little final line coming across the tree at the bottom. I'm going to put more on. You can obviously have as many of these as you wish. Have that curving round to come around there. We might have just a few just coming over here, just to fill in this little area. Like that. So there is my little tree. I do have some star embellishments, and I might put a little star at the top if I can find them. They're not for sale at the moment, but at least I haven't found any in the catalogue, but I have got a set of old ones. So there is my card. I now need to... Oh, you can't see the gold dots very well. Sun's gone in a little bit. Perhaps I'll do crisscross lines of these, you know. I'm just thinking I might have some crisscross lines. Going mad now. Whoops. Should have checked that was coming out properly again. Well, that's fine. Just have some going up here. And coming down here. There, now I've got lights all around my tree in my little bit of this, and I've just got one little ribbon gold there, which I can use my pokey tool to remove. So there we have my little, I can see them better there. Yeah, my little gold dots to pop around the tree to look like lights coming around the tree. Pleased with that. So I now need to not touch this and leave it to dry. I think it's a good idea to leave these to dry for at least an hour, and overnight is even better, so that you've got, you can really let them harden, so then they're not going to be damaged after that at all. So I hope you like this idea. I hope you like the effect of the tree from the dabby blend that I've used, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So have a go at making your own stencils and see what you can come up with. I would love to see it. Thank you for joining me today. The details and all the measurements and things, and to be honest, if you're going to make it, I would have a cherry cobbler layer. I'm going to put that in the card, in the instructions, because I think it would look better with a cherry cobbler layer. I might just make myself a little frame actually, and put it on top, just so I've got a little frame there. I think just a bit more cherry cobbler on the front would be nice. So I'm going to do that. In fact, what time are we on? Yeah, I probably ought to stop. I'll do that and put it in the picture so you'll see the little frame. And by frame, I mean I'm just going to cut a piece of cherry cobbler that is my layer 1 size, 10 by 14.3, or for the US letter size, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to cut a frame inside it using my 9.5 by 13.8 measurement, or 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And that will give me a little frame that I can just stick on top. Easy way is to cut your cherry cobbler layer and stick it underneath your white layer, and then you've got your border anyway. So thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry there weren't many comments. I do hope that was useful and interesting for you, unless my internet's given up and I'm just not seeing anything in the chat. Yeah, please join me in future. All the instructions will be on the website. That's at craftycarolscards.co.uk. Please do sign up there for my emails, because then you'll find out what I'm doing and when I'm doing things. I've got a lovely craft and chat in-person class later this week, and I am going to, let me just move myself back and then you can see me properly instead of me fiddling on the desk. I'm making a very interesting starfold card. I got the idea from the lovely Tammy White, and we're going to make a starfold card. I'm going to video that and put it up later at the end of the week, but that's what we're making it at my class. And next week, what have I got next week? I'm trying to remember what I've decided to do. Actually, I've been trying to be very, very organised, and oh yeah, I'm going to do a swing card for this live next week, so you can join me next week to have a look at swing cards. And yeah, I hope you can join me again then. Thanks for joining me today. Sign up for my emails, check out the